Imagine stepping into a world where, well, everything you thought you knew just gets turned completely on its head.
Yeah, like your understanding of history, faith, nature, even what being alive means.
It's a place where reality feels bendy, identities shift all the time, and your core beliefs, they're constantly under pressure.
That's exactly the journey we're taking you on today. This deep dive plunges us into this really fantastical land.
And we're piecing it together from some fascinating sources, right?
We are. We've got the frantic confessions of a 17th century monk, Hiob von Luzern,
Okay.
and we're mixing that with these wondrous, sometimes pretty baffling tales from the land's own people.
So our mission is really to explore this place, Pentexore, that seems to defy expectations at, well, every single turn.
Our main guides are excerpts from Catherynne M. Valente's The Habitation of the Blessed. So we'll hear directly from Hiob's 1699 Confessions.
And others too.
Yes, also writings from Hagia, she's the wife of a key figure we'll meet, and these captivating stories from Imtithil, who's a panotii storyteller.
Right.
We'll get to them. Big ears. And we'll even look at a much older document, the letter of Prester John from 1165.
Wow. Okay. So let's start with Hiob. He calls himself a very bad historian.
He does, but also a very good, miserable old man.
Mm-hmm.
It's 1699, and he sets off seeking, and this is a great phrase, gold and light and a story the size of the sky.
A story the size of the sky. Love that. And he's looking for the legendary Prester John.
That's the goal, the priest king. He's hoping for this grand adventure, but also, maybe more deeply, something to bolster his own faith.
So his boss is back home, the abbot and his brothers. They had pretty grand visions for this trip, didn't they?
Oh, absolutely. Find Prester John, convert the savages, locate the Fountain of Youth, the whole 9 yards. Classic mission stuff.
But how did that actually match up with reality on the ground for Hiob?
Well, it didn't. Not even close. The journey just falls apart. His companions are dying from falls, weird insect bites.
Oh, dear.
And the locals, when he asks about Prester John's palace or the fountain, they laugh, call them mad, or, and this is disturbing, they flay them just for asking.
Flay them? Good heavens, that's
Girl.
that's brutal. A far cry from converting savages.
Exactly. It's a harsh, harsh reality check.
So then comes this critical moment, right?
Yeah.
After all that loss, they find a village, a woman in yellow.
Yes. And Hiob finally asks her about Prester John. Her answer.
Just one word.
One word. Gone.
Gone. Wow, just gone. After centuries of legend, that must have just pulled the rug out from under him.
Completely shattered his whole quest's foundation. And, it's only the beginning of the strangeness.
Because then she leads him to the tree.
The tree, you have to picture this. A tree, but instead of fruit, it bears books.
Actual books, hanging there.
Actual books. The bark is like parchment, the leaves are this glossy red, and books of all shapes, bright covers, hanging like peaches.
That's incredible.
Hiob manages to grab just one. It's called Physikai Akroskios, or The Book of Things Made and Things Born.
And the author.
The Anti-Aristotle of Chandrakant.
The Anti-Aristotle. Okay,
Yeah.
so this tree, this book, it must have totally scrambled Hiob's understanding of, well, everything. God, creation.
Oh, absolutely. He feels like God must have looked away, that many breeds of strangeness might be permitted in its absence.
And what about this anti-Aristotle's philosophy in the book? What's the core idea?
It's pretty radical. It talks about this thing called Antinoi's experiment.
Okay.
The idea is if you plant a bed, like an actual wooden bed, along with its rotting parts in the earth,
Yeah.
it will certainly grow, send up shoots, become a bed tree.
A bed tree? Seriously? Bearing what, bedside tables?
Bearing 4-postered fruit and green pillows for leaves, according to the text.
That's wild.
It totally flips the script, right? It says, it is art that changes, that evolves, and nature that is stationary. Human creations can become natural.
So our inventions aren't separate from nature. They can actually merge with it,
Yeah.
become part of it. That messes with your head.
Completely. It challenges that whole Western separation of artifice and nature. And it's not just theory in Pentexore.
How so?
Well, later we meet John. He's a lost priest from Constantinople, and he runs into these trees.
Don't tell me they're furniture trees.
Not furniture, but talking rams and yews. Trees whose bark is like bristly wool.
Talking animal trees, of course. So what do they think about this bed tree idea?
They bring it up. They challenge John's Aristotelian views, telling him their version of the experiment.
Their version.
Yeah. They basically argue, look, we're trees and we can talk, so your Aristotle must be wrong about nature and human dominion.
Okay.
They even mention their own god, someone called the Shear, and tell John, All nature wars with itself. It just pushes all his buttons.
So Hiob's journey starts with dashed hopes and this book tree, and John gets philosophical arguments from sheep trees. This place is something else.
It really is. And remember, Hiob was also looking for the Fountain of Youth?
Yes, the fountain.
Yeah.
Please tell me it's not guarded by, like, armchair lions or something.
No, but it's definitely not the sparkling spring of legend. Hagia, John's wife, remember, she recalls visiting it as a child. And what was it like?
She describes it as a low puddle in a sulking, recalcitrant cistern.
Charming.
The water oozed thick and oily, globbed with algae. Not exactly tempting.
Yikes. So where does the immortality come in?
The guardian, a swan-headed figure called Oinoka, explains it's a mountain's blood. And drinking it does grant immortality.
But it comes with strings attached, I'm guessing.
Big ones. This immortality leads to this really unique societal thing called the abir, the lottery.
The lottery, what's that about?
Okay, so every few centuries, everyone's life gets completely reassigned. You draw a stone and boom, new identity, new job, new family. Everything changes.
Whoa, why would they do that? That sounds incredibly disruptive, painful even.
It is painful. Hagia talks about the terrible pain when families and lovers are split up, but the queen started it to fight off the crushing boredom and cruelty that came with living forever with no changes.
So it's a kind of necessary evil, a sacrifice to keep society from stagnating. Exactly. It takes the place in us that lies fallow now, as Hagia puts it. She mentions her own mother getting reassigned to crush grapes, forgetting her entire past life.
Forgetting. So you might not even remember your old lives.
It seems to vary. Hagia remembers hers, and she describes memory for immortals as a palimpsest of days, like layers upon layers, making the present hard to grasp.
That constant awareness of lost connections must be heavy.
Immensely. You see it with Mtithal, the storyteller. She's also called Haji. She actually took that new name partly to escape the demands of her past selves.
She just wanted to be Haji.
Yeah, just a no one who knew her way through the mountains, loved for who she is now, not who she used to be. It really shows the burden of infinite memory.
It makes you think about what memory is even for. Okay, so speaking of the people, in Tethel the Panotii, Prester John's original letter mentioned a whole host of strange inhabitants, didn't it?
Oh yeah, a wild list. Elephants, lions, sure, but also griffins, centaurs, cyclops, men with horns, men with eyes front and back.
Just an everyday kind of place then.
Pretty much. And the book gives more detail on some, like the Panotii and Tethel's people. Their ears are supposedly so large they hear as a trumpeting song.
Wow. And you mentioned others.
The Astomi. They have no mouths. They live by smell alone, eat scent from the air itself. Imagine that.
It's incredible. These aren't just background monsters. They're part of the society.
Absolutely. And then there are figures from our legends, like Gog and Magog.
What's their deal here?
Well, they're not men. They're described as agents of fire, that blackness at the end of everything, kind of elemental forces.
Okay. And there's a wall. The Gates of Alessander.
Yes, a massive wall built from diamonds, supposedly with help from giants who died in the process, a grievous sacrifice.
Why build it? What did it do?
It trapped most of the Phoenix and their city, Simurgh, behind it.
Trapped the Phoenix. But don't they need to? Resurrect?
Exactly. Their cycle involves returning to their city to be reborn in fire. The wall cut them off. That's why only 5 Phoenix are left, like Rasno the Glassblower. Yeah, and they're basically just waiting for extinction because they can't complete their cycle. It's this deep tragedy woven into the world.
That's incredibly sad. And even conflict is weird there, right?
Yeah.
John sees this war between pygmies and cranes.
Right, in the war garden. He thinks it's sort of ritualistic at first, maybe ceremonial wounds.
But it's...
No. As he watches, it just descends into this rutting field, a frenzy of envy and loneliness. It reveals something really unsettling about desire and violence there. Not what he expected at all.
Poor John. He seems to be constantly bewildered. He's the priest from Constantinople.
Yeah, the lost priest. He gets claimed, basically adopted by Fortunatus, a griffin, but he really struggles with the inhabitants, especially Hagia.
His assigned wife, the Blemmie.
Yes. Blemmies have faces on their chests, eyes on the breasts, mouth on the belly. John just cannot cope with it. He finds her nakedness intolerable, her form ugly. He can barely look at her.
That must make for an awkward marriage.
Profoundly. And he tries to convert everyone, telling them about Eden, Eve's sin, the whole Christian story.
How does that go down?
Not well. They're confused, or they just contradict him. Fortunatus the Griffin basically scoffs at his ideas of forgiveness and afterlife.
Ah,
He points out he already has life everlasting and then shows John his own dead wife, who's now a tree with blinking gold eyes.
a tree wife. Okay.
So John's faith is just battered. He initially calls Pentexore a new hell.
But he shifts his view.
He tries to. He decides, okay, maybe this is Eden. Maybe these creatures are actually holy things.
Except
Except the blemmies. He can't accept his own wife as holy. His prejudice is too strong.
that's telling. And doesn't Hagia show him a mirror?
She does, made by Rasno, the phoenix glassblower. But it doesn't reflect Pentexore.
What does it show?
It shows John's own world, Constantinople, and it's burning, screaming, violence, bodies twisting on blades, horrors.
Oh, wow. How does John react?
He just watches, impassive,
Yeah.
just chilling. A brutal reflection of the fallen lands he came from. Makes you really question which world is worse off, doesn't it?
It really does. But John keeps pushing for one thing, right? St. Thomas's tomb.
Yes, that's his big quest within the quest. He wants to find the Apostles' tomb. He ends up in this strange place called Thule.
What's Thule like?
It's described as a slow-motion world full of this jelly-like mist. And there he meets Nis, a goat-headed man.
And Nis knows about Thomas.
Oh, yeah. Very matter-of-fact. Says Thomas did his Talma, he calls him, was definitely there. But
Yeah.
he left us living and went back home with his wife,
His wife. Thomas the Apostle had a wife.
according to Nis. And he says Thomas is now a tree. A wise, chuckling tree.
Not a tomb, a tree.
A tree that had a wife and apparently will come back again and change the world. It completely explodes John's neat categories of saints, tombs, sin, and Christ's return.
Just everything challenged. Beliefs, reality, history.
And even the nature of love itself is explored differently here. There's a great quote from another griffin, Caspiel.
What does Cosby say?
In the history of the world, no one has done a thing that was not done for love. You must only train yourself to see it.
That's a really profound statement.
Yeah.
So even the strangest actions.
Are driven by love, or at least a need for connection if you look closely enough. Think of Hadolf, the Red Lion, fiercely loyal to Hagia despite John despising her. Or Haji's devotion to John, it reframes everything.
It asks you to look for the underlying motive. And what about stories themselves? Hiob, the historian,
Yeah.
he must value the written word.
Desperately. But remember those books from the tree? He tries to copy them, but they're physically decaying.
Decaying how?
Pages are winking out like stars in the dawn, being devoured by mold. The woman in yellow tries to preserve them with some kind of golden oil, but it's a losing battle.
So even history, the record, is impermanent there.
Exactly. It underlines how fragile memory and recorded history are. Hiob himself comes to realize that the root of all suffering is memory.
Especially, I suppose, if you live forever or if the things you try to record just disappear.
Precisely. The burden of remembering, or the inability to hold on to the past.
So wrapping this all up, what have we seen in this deep dive? It's just a world of incredible complexity.
Utterly bewildering, where nature, time, faith, identity, all the things we think are stable are just constantly shifting and changing.
And Hiob, who started us off, he's just left completely adrift, isn't he?
Yeah, questioning everything. Is this place the devil's country or it is God's? He can't reconcile it with his world.
And that really seems to be the point, perhaps, that truth isn't always neat or comfortable. It can be fluid, strange.
And discovering it can be a really unsettling process. It forces you to look past what you thought you knew.
So a final thought for you listening. In a world like Pentexore, where history is described as an old, confused crone, and where memory itself can be the source of suffering,
It makes you wonder, doesn't it? How much of our own past, the stories we tell ourselves about who we are and where we came from, how much do we truly want to hold on to?
and how much might we need to let go of maybe to embrace new, perhaps uncomfortable truths about ourselves and our own reality?